Pacific Rim was directed by Guillermo Del Toro and it stars Charlie Hunnam, Rinko Kikuchi, Idris Elba, Ron Pearlman, Robert Kazinsky, and many others, and it took place in a futuristic world where humanity had been invaded by enormous monsters known as kaijus. They came out of the depths of the sea, and since then an endless war has raged on as humanity faces these invaders with massive link-minded controlled weapons known as the Jaegers. Welcome back to my Geek Classics review, the series of reviews where we look back at a movie that came out before my channel ever existed, and since this week Pacific Rim Uprising is coming out, we are looking back at one of my favorite movies of 2013, Pacific Rim, and as always, this review will have spoilers. You are warned. I grew up as a fan of anime, of Power Rangers, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of fantasy series, of King Kong and Godzilla. How could I not love this movie? Without even knowing me, you can say I was pretty fucking excited to see this, especially being directed by Guillermo Del Toro. And it's absolutely telling on screen and how the story moves throughout this film, how it is directed by Guillermo Del Toro and comes from his visual prowess as a storyteller. The movie is all the type of shows I grew up with combined, yet different at the same time. There's genuine spectacle in Pacific Rim, and an original one at that, due to how well Guillermo brings this world to life and how magnificent the world building truly is. Del Toro's incredible direction brings this world to life, and because of his fantastic use of the narrative for world building, it helps a lot in making the rules of this world work for us as the audience. And the fight sequences are unbelievably good in this film. There's a fight scene in the sea, there's a fight scene on a city, there's a fight scene under the sea, there's a fight scene on the freaking atmosphere, people.
Sword deployment.
There's an immense sense of scale and scope and the impact of these beasts and their fights, not only of the physical blows that the Jaegers and the kaijus dish out on each other, but also the impacts of their actual fighting in the city, in the environment around them, how they affect this world. We see it right at the opening of the film, and we see it during and after each consequent fight that we see in the movie. The visuals in this film are also incredible. We see everything, and Del Toro does the very clever thing of starting this movie very tight. We see faces, we see parts of the Jaegers and how they move very slowly, and we see very closely so as well the kaijus. We see their eyes, we see their claws, we see their scales, and Del Toro pans out to give us the scale that we absorb throughout the rest of the film. The visuals are insane, and it's due to Del Toro's incredible visual eye to tell a story that it works. And it might sound silly from a movie that has giant robots fighting giant monsters, but this film uses the Jaegers incredibly realistically. I love the neural link that you need to have the Jaegers work. That works wonders for the film itself. And it does give it a whole lot of personality, and it does give a whole lot of personality as well to each of the pilots that we follow in the film, and we'll get a little bit more into the pilots in a bit. I also love how the Jaegers don't flip back and forth or just jump around and move very quickly. You see the mechanics of each step they take, and they are very clunky and very heavy, and they don't move around irrealistically, so they move like a giant massive machine of their size, and we do absorb their size, unlike in the Transformers films. Throughout this film we see how hard it is to make these beings move. We need two people to have a connected mind, and I think the movie uses that flawlessly and actually has stakes given into how you need to have them move. There are limitations to their speed and their movements in general, and we even see that in some of the most spectacular moments of the movie.
Elbow rocket!
Elbow rocket engaged.
Now!
also love the organization of the Jaegers. I love the different nations that are at work in here. I love the different looks at the robots. I love the Russian robot, the Chinese robot, the Japanese robot. I love how very different they are from each other. And I love how global this organization is. And we have people from different places on the world working in their own way. That also gives them a lot of personality. Especially because looking back at Pacific Rim and rewatching it, the movie doesn't really have a main human character, and that's a good thing to me. Because unlike so many movies of the type, this movie doesn't have a Jesus-like figure. This movie doesn't have one key character that is the key to save the human race, that one person that is special above all others. Yes, Charlie Hunnam is the main face in the poster, but his Beckett is as important for the film as Rinko Kikuchi's Mako is, or as Idris Elba's Pentecost is, or as Kazinsky's Hansen is for the narrative. The main character in Pacific Rim is the conflict, and to me that's a great thing because that's how it should be. Humanity coming together will fight this conflict, and the conflict itself is on the forefront. And it's because the movie travels through and with all these characters that it is because of that conflict, and it never loses focus of it, and that is why it is captured in this amazing, badass speech from Idris Elba.
At the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we have chosen not only to believe in ourselves, but in each other. Today there's not a man nor woman in here that shall stand alone. Not today. Today we face the monsters that are at our door and bring the fight to them. Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
Now, midway through the film, Charlie Day, who's a scientist in this movie, finds out that the kaijus didn't come from space, but they came from beneath the sea through a rift that goes through another dimension. And that didn't really work for me. The whole plot with these scientists and Charlie Day neural-linking himself with a kaiju to get this information felt very rushed, very exposition heavy, and didn't really gel well with the rest of the film. I thought there could have been another way to work it better into the narrative, like a kaiju bursting through a chamber of a Jaeger and being trapped in those wires that neural link each pilot. Then one of the pilots could have been connected to a kaiju and then get that information. That would have just gelled better with me as part of this crazy world and narrative. However, because of this crazy plot thread with Charlie Day that didn't really work for me, we do get one of the best portions of this film.
I thought you couldn't keep them alive.
You can if you soak them in ammonia. What do you want?
I'm looking for Hannibal Chow. I was told he was here.
Who wants to know?
I really can't say. Dr. Pentecost sent me!
Man, oh man, Ron Pearlman, he steals every single scene that he is in this movie. The dude steals the movie away from giant robots and giant monsters fighting each other. There are not many people in the universe who can claim that. Ron Pearlman even steals the post-credit scene.
Where is my goddamn shoe?
And despite of how they got to the reveal and the twist in the movie not really working for me, I do love the ending of this film and how it's pretty much the definition of epic.
5, 4, 3. Reactor meltdown.
And apart from the scientist's ordeal in this film, There's another issue I have with Pacific Rim, and that is the acting. There is no bad acting in this film in my opinion. Charlie Hunnam, who everyone hates in this film, I don't hate him. The dude is a really good actor, but he is in fact acting in a completely different film. He portrays Beckett as someone who is the one guy who can save the world, the Jesus figure, the savior, and he really isn't. He's acting very serious for a very dramatic, even Oscar-worthy role and film. And a summer sci-fi fantasy blockbuster with giant robots and giant monsters is really not the place for that, Charlie. And you are a great actor, and you really didn't do a good job here because you are in a completely different film. But overall, Pacific Rim succeeds in every important aspect for a movie like this. It feels inspired, but it is its own thing. It's fun and energetic and has the distinct voice of a visual and storytelling master behind it. The world it creates feels accomplished and grounded. It is cartoony and fantastic when it needs and where it needs to be. Impressive is the best word to describe it over anything else, and that is why I say that Pacific Rim is a collector's item. Now, what did you think of Pacific Rim, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Did you grow up with monster and robot anime as I did and with Power Rangers? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite Guillermo Del Toro movie is. And let me know, are you excited for Pacific Rim Uprising? Because I am, and I can't wait to bring you my review this week. I have many other reviews coming this week, including Unsane, and finally, in the UK, A Wrinkle in Time. Thank you so much once more, and so until the next review, you stay beautiful, you stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so we can be geeky united!